Okay, everybody ready? Yeah. Perhaps I'm just having a party on my own up here. Although they were having a pretty good party over here, I noticed this morning. Yeah. Now, as John has said, my name's Caroline and I'm married to Carl. We've just had our 47th wedding anniversary. Every year gets better. Slower, but better. And we have three married children and 7 grandchildren between them. And our eldest turned 16 in January. And we rang her to wish her a happy birthday. And I said to her, have you got something special planned? Oh, just a chillax day, Nana. She said, in the morning I'm doing my theory driving test. Oh, it doesn't sound very chillax to me. And then in the afternoon, now, here's an idea for your next birthday treat, young people. She went and donated blood. I don't think I can hear many takers, but that's all right. For some reason, she's been wanting to do it since she was 9, and you have to be 16. So, yeah, she was all prepped when she came up for Gramps to take her for lots of driving practice. I'm not sure who was more exhausted, him or her. So I'm to probably guess from communion that I'm going to just talk about peace this morning. And I think, in the past, my view has been very limited. It was all about having that inner tranquility, feeling comfortable when you made a decision that seemed right with God. And it really helped to have peaceful surroundings and no trouble going on in your life. But that isn't really what it's all about. And as time's gone on, God said to me, pursue peace. And I didn't really quite understand what he was saying. But as I've gone on, peace has become more and more a way of life. And I love the liberation and the joy that it brings. Our verse is revive. And it comes from Psalm 23, verse 3. I'm going to read that verse to you. That's where he restores and revives my life. So where does he restore and revive our life? We need to go back to verse 2 and see. He offers a resting place for me in his luxurious love. His tracks take me to an oasis of peace, the quiet brook of bliss. That's where he restores and revives my life. It's hard to get the end result without the time spent before. Smith Wigglesworth, he talked about the sunshine of bliss of coming into that oasis of peace with God and being set aside. Eben Alexander, a neurosurgeon and scientist, he struggled with faith. And then he contracted meningitis and he was in a coma for 7 days. And in his own words, he said, while my thinking brain was knocked out of action, God was able to encounter my heart. And he came out talking about the bliss of the infinite, unconditional love of God that he discovered while he was in that place. So where do we find oasis normally in the physical world? Anybody? Deserts, thank you. Yeah, wildernesses, whatever. We talk about wilderness experiences, and I don't think we're very keen on them, actually. But maybe we don't realize what God's heart is for us through them. Let's read Hosea 2, verse 14. I will allure her, attract her, lead her into the wilderness. Why would he do that? To speak tenderly to her. What for? There I will give her back her vineyards, revive and restore her, and make the valley of Achor into a door of hope. And that word achor means trouble. Jesus, speaking to his disciples, he says, I'm telling you of the trouble to come. So in me you will have peace. In the world you will have trouble, but I have overcome the world. So I see peace is not an absence of trouble, but the presence of a person. And we meet with that person in that oasis of peace. A place where we can sit and listen to what he wants to say, what he's going to reveal to us. Keith Anderson, in his book, calls listening being with another person in relationship and curiosity. Are you curious about what God wants to reveal to you? Are you curious for the more of what he wants to reveal about himself? A good, healthy dose of curiosity. Mother Teresa, I always begin my prayer in silence, for it's in the silence of the heart that God speaks. It's not what we say, but what God says to us and through us that matters. We see Jesus going into solitary places to spend time in that oasis of peace, to sit with his Father, listen to what he says. He comes out strong and dependent on God. I only do what I see my Father do, he says. That is a place of peace in itself, knowing we're doing the thing that God has called us to do. So let's look at some of the meanings in the Hebrew and Greek words of peace. The Greek word is shalom, and I hope I said that right, and the Greek word, as I said before, is irene. I've just listed a few places where these meanings can help us. So when we're busy, stressed, strung out on adrenaline, peace means rest and quietness. When we feel judged and criticized and want to do the same back, peace means absence of hostility and the need to retaliate. Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, I thought so too, yeah. When build walls to protect ourselves and keep others away because we're not comfy with how we feel with them, peace means safe in mind, body, and soul. The type of wholeness that encourages us to give back. When think we have to solve everything ourselves and we're full of anxious thoughts, peace brings order out of chaos and removes what distracts and destroys. Trusting them when we've done all we can, the Holy Spirit is still at work. When our rights and selfish ambition are more important than others, peace brings harmony and unity. As we come and sit at his feet, he will just reveal these things to us. Oops, oh well, that's got rid of that one. I'm going to look at some illustrations in a minute, but one verse I just wanted to pick out was in Matthew 10, verse 34, Jesus says he has not come to bring like a blanket peace on the earth. And he says that in fact, his presence will bring conflict in people's hearts. But our message always remains the gospel of peace. Isaiah 52, how beautiful on the mountains of the feet of him that brings good news, proclaiming peace, etc. Our feet shod with the gospel of peace. Oh, sorry. So we can take things quite personally, and I'm thinking of, this evangelism with Daz Chettle. We can take things personally and think, oh, I'm no good at this. Oh, people don't like that. Oh, it's not right, not for me. But peace goes before and makes a way. Jesus says when you approach people or go into someone's house, speak peace to that house. If they keep it, then you know you can just go ahead. If they reject it, you know they're not quite ready yet. It's great for doing that. Carl and I had a most strange experience one day. A woman stopped and talked to us in the garden, raving about what we were doing to the cottage, and so we showed her around, and we were just standing in the kitchen waiting for her to go, you know, and she stands there. Well, not waiting for her to go, you know. That's not quite how I meant it. Trust Hannah to pick up on it. But suddenly she got really fidgety and uncomfortable, and she says, there's something here. And so Carl and I are going like this, and she's going like this, you know, and then she says, it's peace. And we were just gobsmacked, quite honestly. We thought, you know, how can that put her off? How can someone be put off by peace? But she wasn't talking about our inner tranquility. She was talking about the person, the Prince of Peace, who's in the world reconciling the world back to God. And that was her reaction. Nothing to do with us. And we have to remember that when we're talking with people and we get a bit of a pushback, it's often not about us, but it's the conflict in their hearts of what, sorry, I keep dropping it, of what God is doing. So, the first one was rest and quietness. Is our worth tied up with how busy we can say we are and how full our time is and rushing around and filling every moment? You know, that's the way to burnout. I listened to Your Garden Made Perfect. I love gardening programs. And the husband said, I just want an oasis where I can come home, sit and be quiet and unwind from the day. I have a lot of people through our garden, and they just come in for bits or flowers or whatever, I don't know. And often the comment is, this is like an oasis. It nestles around you. And I can see in people's hearts there's a real desire to come into that place of stillness and quietness and just spend time being with the Prince of Peace, the God of peace. The absence of hostility. We don't like being attacked. We're either offended and resentful and go into ourselves, or we have a desire to give back as good as we got. But peace is the absence of hostility and the need to retaliate. I worked for a chiropractor for a while, and this guy came. I was doing a course of 6 sessions of a treatment that they had happening there, and his first session, he's asked me if I was a Christian. I thought, oh, that's unusual. Anyway, every time he came, he talked till we got to the last session, and boy, he went on to full mode attacking faith, attacking Jesus, attacking everything we'd discussed. And I began to feel something rising up in me. I just thought, I don't have to listen to all this stuff. What can I do or say to shut this guy up? You know, he's really annoying. And I'm just about to open my mouth, and God says to me, I don't need defending. Oh, all that angst just drained away. That beautiful peace just came into my heart. Wow, I was in a moment. I thought, I don't want to ever leave this place. This is a good place to be. And I'm having this little moment. And then suddenly I realise it's gone deathly quiet. So I look at him and smile. He goes, what's happening? He said, why aren't you responding? I always get a response when I bait Christians. Ouch. I thought he nearly got one from me too, but for Jesus, but for that Prince of Peace teaching a better way. When someone's spoiling for a fight and we come in peace, it just totally takes the winds out of their sails. We don't want to be a hostile witness for Jesus. Safe. Ibn Alexander that I was talking about, who had the meningitis, another thing that he discovered in that place encounter with God, our physical life is characterized by defensiveness, whereas the spiritual life is just completely the opposite. My husband found a dear little baby hedgehog running across the lawn. He brought it in to show our little 2 youngest grandchildren. And of course, immediately they want to stroke it, touch it, hold it. And all they're met with is this great barrage of prickles. And it took a while for that, just had to leave it and let it unroll, and they had to watch it from a distance. We can be like that, or we can meet people that are like that. And just the walls and the partitions in lives that they're needed to keep people safe and functioning. It takes so much energy to maintain. You just get worn out trying to maintain those barriers. Peace has the best energy rating I can think of. In John 14, verse 27, Jesus says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you." Let's sit in that oasis of peace with our great architect and let him remove a few walls. Wow, look at the space. David cried to the Lord, and he brought him into a spacious place. Peace brings us into a spacious place without the need to haul all this stuff off to keep people away. Peace brings order out of chaos. In the midst of battle, we're told the name of the Lord is like a strong tower. We can run into it and be safe. What's one of the names of God? Jehovah Shalom, the God of peace. God of peace, we're told, will bruise Satan beneath our feet. And he's not a God of disorder, but of peace. Peace brings that order out of chaos and removes that which causes anxiety. As we surrender to him, trust him, become familiar with who he is and what he wants for our lives, your hearts and minds. Peace is warfare. He guards us. He bruises Satan beneath our feet, the God of peace. We have some weapons when we stand and walk in peace. Doesn't that make you want to go and sit with him? Spend time in that oasis of peace? Just enjoying being with him. He has all the bases covered. He can reveal that to us as we sit with him. And finally, harmony and unity. The 4th letter of Shalom, I can't remember what it's called, but it's shaped like a 7. And it means low door. And the entrance through that low door is humility. Jessie wrote a song about it. If you remember those words, I get down low, I come crawling in to the presence of the Lord. When peace rules in our heart, we honor one another, preferring one another in love. We're not wanting to push ourselves to the front, but we can lift others up as well. Oh, do you want the band? Do the band want to come up now, please? Thank you. So much to remember, yes. In this season, as we draw aside and allow God to revive us, I see humility and unity increasing. I see a desire to listen increasing. What the youth shared after storm camp, I just want to worship and listen. And it's not about the rah-rah, although that's cool and fun, but it's wanting to be real with God and pursue him. I see an increase in prayer and worship and an increased desire to share the gospel. Change is coming. let's spend time in that oasis of peace with the one who can teach us how to be at peace in every situation. As we've looked at peace, if there's any